All right, would you like to give an introduction to what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm just tweeting that we're doing this all.
Oh my god, you got a fucking twat.
Yep.
All right, while he's tweeting, I will give an introduction. Hey everyone, this is exclusive Twitch television streamer and RizRPP here. Hunt Showdown professionals, 6-star gamers, 8.7 KDs each of us combined. Something, I don't know. We're really good at the game. But anyway, we're gonna give you our feedback, our honest opinion on each compound inside of the game Hunt Showdown. Was that good?
Yeah, that was. I think that was it.
How would you like to begin? Are we doing alphabetical, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I suppose we could just start from the first one and go down.
Yeah.
All right.
So, number one is we have Anal's and Son's fish.
Anal and Sun, yeah.
Anal sunfish, the anal sunfish. So ALAIN's / Allen's, I call it Allen's. We call it Allen's, right? Because we relate to it a lot.
We do.
I feel like Allen's plays pretty well, to be honest, and every side for the most part is viable, aside from like the woods at lumber. But there's the building at lumber, which like that side's pretty good too. I guess maybe the blanching side isn't the best.
Yeah, honestly my biggest, because I like this whole compound. My problem with it is I feel like it's really difficult to actually like siege the building. You're very, especially if you're not the only team there, like it's very, you can't really get close without like 100% committing, because it's just not very you know, with all the water on every side and not a whole lot of ways to get in other than a slide door.
But isn't that like every boss lair though? Like you can't really siege if there's other teams outside. Like you have to deal with the teams outside regardless first.
I guess my issue is like there's usually 2 doors that are completely barricaded from what I can usually, like the 2 bottom doors are like totally barricaded. So then all you have is a crank door, which is, you know, not the easiest. You're so exposed. Or you have to go up that stairwell and peek their slider or the window over there. Like
well, no, there's the other slider on the back.
Oh, there is a slider on the back. That's
and then there's the window you can jump through.
You can't really navigate to that slider super well because there's no catwalk that leads you directly there. You have to like jump down into the water, run over. If you're coming from the other way, climb up a ladder. Yeah. It's not really like very easy to just kind of go in and out of the area.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like layout wise, it's a little bit tough.
Yeah, it's like fun to fight at.
Yeah.
If you're like the only 2 teams there and like can navigate a little bit. I've had some of my best fights. I'd say it's probably like a C.
That's kind of where I was thinking. Like I feel like if they were to rework it a little bit and just make the immediate catwalk that goes around it, like kind of go all the way around the whole thing, that way you can kind of traverse the whole building without having to drop down into the water and climb up a ladder, or even make the ladders ramps, just give you like an easier way to get up and down or something at the very least.
Yeah,
because then you could play around the back, play around the front. You're not totally exposing yourself by having to run through knee-deep water.
Yeah,
because the underneath bit's cool.
Yeah, I love those rotations you can do under there, and
I don't want to like get rid of that. I just think that it kind of feels like it has 2 separate areas, and especially how difficult it is to, like, you have 1 slider on one side that's going to work and a fucking crank door on the other, basically, and it's just not very. You have to be able to use both of those easily, otherwise.
Yeah, I think they need to just do like a. I think something would be big would be like an extended crank, like they did for Catfish, right? Yeah. Like where they put it underneath or something,
that
or
really
in that
cool.
other building.
I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, they need something that you can like have somebody crank from safety, and then somebody can start like aggro peeking or push.
I might even move it down to D, despite liking it a lot. I think that it needs a rework to make it function a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna leave it at C, but you do you.
Yeah, depending on where other stuff falls, I might move it around again.
Okay, Alice Farm.
I like Alice.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of the long lines of sight that snipers could just kind of. They don't really have to get anywhere near you, and
from Lock Bay.
Yeah,
if you're
from
on the
Lock
roof
Bay
and down in the water.
Darrow, you can get on the roof and look right all the way over.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking like a B tier for this. I love the compound itself.
Yeah,
but I don't like the surrounding area to the compound, and I feel like I love the double boss layer there. I love the.
I do too.
Like being able to be in one and then peek the other. I feel like it plays really, really well, but I feel like the surrounding area kind of kills it a little bit for me with that like big fucking cornfield and that tree line over there and
the big open courtyard, like where the dog kennel and stuff is. Like, how are you supposed to? You can't run around out there.
Yeah, there's not enough cover in there. No. I'd give it like a B probably.
Yeah,
I feel like it plays pretty good usually, but. Now we're really gonna differ on this one.
Yeah, we are.
ARDEN Parish. I'm putting that as an A tier for sure, if not S. I personally think ARDEN Parish is very underrated because I love the verticality of the roofs that you can get on. Yeah. I love the main boss lair roof that you can get on. I love the different approaches you can have into the boss lair whenever you do go to siege. You have all those windows that you can jump through, nade through, the tower that you can, get up in and climb down and fall on somebody. I think that's a really, really good POI that I know you don't like really fighting at.
I guess my biggest problem with it is like specifically when you're on honestly either side of it, like that you're just. I like that you can get on the roofs and you can kind of play like that, but I don't feel like you have a whole lot of room to peek a lot of the time. Like, I always just feel very suppressed when I'm out around the boss lair, and I can't really like peek a whole lot because you're just not even necessarily because of the boss lair team. Like, there's just you're usually pinned down by people on the outside that you can't really navigate around to fight because.
Yeah, I think the problem I have with ARDEN that needs to be resolved is that inner courtyard area that has all the little buildings.
Yeah,
I think there needs to be more dense cover there, so you can't just be shot in the back from the woods and everything. But I do love the way the houses are kind of arranged on the further back outside area.
Yeah,
like, but I feel like what's really lacking for me is the inside. Like, if you are trying to siege and then another team rolls up, you have like very little cover and very little rotation opportunity
on both sides, really. Like, you just can't.
And from the boss lair and from the outside, like once you're in there, you're kind of stuck because you can't rotate because of that road. And then the whole courtyard's pretty much open, so you're like really stuck there. So I'm still gonna put it as an A tier, but I think if they had to fix something, that would be the biggest thing, would be to like put a lot more cover in the inside area.
Yeah, I think I might.
But I think the boss lair itself is dope too.
Yeah, it is cool, and it does have a lot of entrances and a lot of ways to maneuver, whether you're inside or you're sieging. Like, it's definitely a boss layer done right. Whereas like ALAIN's, like we were just talking about, I feel like suffers from kind of the opposite problem. There's just not enough options for you, really. You're very restricted on how you can approach and how you can navigate that like siege. So I think I might put this. I'm gonna put it in. Sure, I'm gonna put it in C for right now. I might move it up to B by the time we're done.
Yeah. Ash Creek Lumber.
Okay, this one I don't think is great.
Yeah.
I think sieging the boss layer is very difficult. I think playing outside is very difficult because it's just so open.
The one mountains. Side you literally can't play on at all. The Pearl side, you can't play on that side.
There's nothing to do there.
Yeah, and then even on the other side, you either are right up on those train cars where you can get shot in the back from behind, or you're back up on that other field that you're either like up on the field where all those trees are like clear cut that is wide open and you can't do anything, or you're way back in like the tree line, which is so far back that you have to have a sniper.
Which also promotes what for the team that's in the boss lair? They
just can't.
They can't peek anything because the only way to really play that offensively is to be like further away from it. So they can't realistically peek it very easily. It's just a death trap for them. So a lot of people end up just running out towards Pearl because that's the only, nobody can really play out there on the offensive side. And there's nothing else they can really do. So I don't think, this doesn't promote a whole lot of flexibility for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like conceptually it's really cool.
I agree.
And I like the inside of the boss lair. I think it's pretty cool and it plays pretty well. But I feel like the I feel like the outside of it kills it to the point where it is almost unplayable.
Yeah.
Unless you know it's like one team versus one team.
Or you have a kid that really would favor.
Yeah, if you have like a spark
back.
Sniper or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Or
shotguns and you're camping inside. Like,
yeah, it's one or the other.
Even leaving there, if you're being camped by somebody, you are fucked leaving that boss lair.
Yeah, there's no it promotes. We always have people just bolt on us that are in that boss lair in there because there's nowhere for them to go. They can't really fight you unless they get a pick or something. It's really hard for them to peek. So I think, I mean,
I'm putting E.
Everything we're saying is kind of leading towards an E or an F.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it as an F because I would rather fight there than a lot of other places or some other places, but it definitely is not great at all. Like it is a sort of, I'm changing F to avoid at all costs. And then E is just.
Honestly, I think it might deserve an F. I really do. I think the fact that it's like so unplayable and restricted on really all sides. I think that's like, I don't think I'd rather go there than prison. Well,
I wouldn't. I'd rather go there every day than prison.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess
because I would put prison as an avoid at all costs. I wouldn't put that for lumber. I will go to lumber and try to fight lumber. Prison, I just have no interest in even going anywhere near it. I don't even want to go collect clues at prison. Ever.
I guess that's fair. All right, we'll leave it an E.
Well, I changed F to avoid at all costs, and then I put E to F. So my tier list is going to be a little different than yours.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like we need A or S through F with an E in there. I think
there's like 48 POIs, so you might have to, the way you look at like one tier, you might have to put something under another. So we'll have to see.
I feel like, like A through F is still, or A through E is still good.
Yeah.
But all right. BLANC BRINERY.
I'm a big fan. I do think the surrounding part of the POI is kind of closed off enough that you're not totally fucked from the outside like you are with lumber, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. There's a lot of hard cover on the inside with like the train and the walls and everything.
And you can kind of wall bang, which is nice, and it's wood and so you do have a lot of options. You can get on the roof if you're the team defensively, and you can do that.
And offensively, you can get on the roof. Really?
Yeah, I mean the only side that suffers a little is the side towards what's it called? Docks. It's the only side that's a little like, unless you have to really get into the compound area to be safe, because otherwise you don't have a whole lot of flex. But actually, that's not true, because you could even get on the roof of that little back building too. That's on the other side of the wall.
And then you could run or jump across to the other roof as well.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, I
think it's a pretty good POI.
The only problem I have with BLANC is there is not enough in terms of peeking, and there's not enough in terms of sieging to like get in the boss lair. The fights at the boss lair in the compound are great. The fights that
the actual boss lair itself is not great.
Sucks. Yeah, the boss lair sucks. The building's cool. The way you can get on top of it and all that is cool. and the way that you can rotate from each building to that roof is great. But the actual boss lair kind of sucks.
Yeah, defensively, you don't really have a whole lot of places to peek from at all. If you're inside the boss lair,
you
like,
have,
where are you
like,
supposed to peek?
You have one window.
Yeah.
You have the slider on the right side. You have the slider on the left side, and then you have the back door, like up top.
Yeah.
And then you have the balcony, like the window thing from that top.
You know what they need to do?
Area.
You know that door that's right underneath, like it's kind of in the open pathway underneath the where the ladder is to go up or whatever.
Yeah.
The slider, like right next to the two stairwells. They almost need to like get rid of that slider and like extend that room out beyond those stairs down low, and like create another wing on that, you know, where that kind of pathway is. Maybe leave the pathway, but like just it doesn't have to be as wide. Because I feel like you need, and then like create a different door out there somewhere. Because as soon as that door gets opened or blown off, that, you know, the slider that's underneath the stairs, you like can't, you're stuck in the boss lair. You can't go anywhere really. You can't peek much.
Yeah, you have to stay on.
You're completely cut off
up top, or you have to stay on the bottom. Like,
so if they got rid of that and they like extended it into a larger room with, I don't know, maybe windows or doors or something where, you know, it would kind of benefit both sides. It might be easier to navigate for both sides.
Yeah, it needs something to like to promote the boss lair being sieged a little bit more, because that is a very, very hard building to siege in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'd probably put it at like a B or a C, to be honest. I like it, but I don't think it plays super well in terms of the sieging portion. I honestly, I'm leaning towards a C, because even outside of the walls of the boss lair, it's kind of mid. Like the whole like outside area isn't really great, other than like the train side, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give that like a C, because I love the boss lair outside area, but I hate like outside of that wall, and I hate the boss lair itself.
Yeah. I have Parish and C. I'm trying to think if I would rather go there than Parish. Or I have Alice at B. Would I rather go to Alice or Blanc? I think I'd rather go to Blanc.
Go to Alice.
Really?
Yeah.
I would definitely rather go to Blanc. I think I'm gonna put Blanc in B, and I don't know. Alice might get bumped down, but I'm not sure.
I'm gonna put Blanc and Alice in the same tier, because I'd fight both of them, but I feel like there's a lot more that I hate about Blanc than I do Alice. I don't know.
Alice,
to me, it's not just like what do I hate more, right?
Yeah.
Like it's what would I rather fight at too, but at the same time, like I have to take everything into consideration, not just where I'd rather fight.
Yeah, Alice for me is a problem just because of the, like, I find that a lot of our fights are people, you know, out on the kind of outskirts of the woods with, you know, like a Sparks or anything that's just, you know, some sort of long ammo that's kind of difficult to peek. And I don't know. I find that place pretty difficult to fight at sometimes. Like I would rather be in the Blanc area.
Yeah, I guess I would. I have Allen's as C. I kind of would put Alice on the same tier as Allen's.
Yeah. In
terms of like fundamental problems with the outside.
Yeah, I agree.
Where
with
like
that.
Blanc, at least you have that hard cover around the whole pretty much area that you can. You don't have to really worry about the outside as much unless you're on the roof.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Alice. So does that mean Allen's goes up to C, or does that mean Alice goes all the way down to D?
I mean, I put Allen's and Alice on the same tier, because I feel like they are equally as problematic on the outside.
Same problems, yeah. Okay.
But I do think Alice is better than Allen's because of the peaking potential on the roof and like the ability to like siege the boss layers easier. I think.
I totally agree. What's next to Alice's poop?
Alice has some really sexy spots where you can like rotate around the whole building and jump from like one like upstairs thing to the next upstairs thing.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, but I think they're like the same tier, but just the fundamental problems outside kind of kill both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Graves.
I'm
gonna put that as an F.
You are?
Yeah.
Because I kind of have a hard time with this one.
I think the Graves being out in the woods, or not out in the woods, sorry, out in the water.
Yeah.
And the only way to get to it is to cross a shit ton of water or run all the way up to ALAIN's.
Yeah.
And then come down from ALAIN's. Those are the only ways to get to Graves. You either have to cross the Atlantic Ocean, or you have to run all the way across the map to get to ALAIN's to approach from that side. I like the church boss lair upstairs. Downstairs is fucking ass.
Yeah, it's really hard to fight downstairs with all the tunnels.
The ring area is ass.
Yeah. Because
it's all open outside, so you're gonna get shot in the back. The only thing I really do like about Graves is that like the ruins area
thing.
yeah, that you can like fight the church upstairs from the ruins.
Yeah,
that's
that whole church ruins kind of area is really I enjoy that fight a lot, but the whole rest of the POI and obviously the approach is like a disaster.
I'd rather fight Lumber than Graves.
I don't know if I would. I think I'd rather fight Graves personally.
I don't know.
Eileen,
like
thank you for the 21 months. Thank you.
Pretty bad.
I appreciate you.
The spawn fights there aren't horrible, but like going there for an actual bounty, I feel, because I'm looking at all these POIs not from like a spawn fight perspective, but from like there is a bounty there. We need to either kill the boss or we need to siege a boss lair.
Yeah. I mean,
and
honestly,
I feel like it's misery.
For me, I think I don't actually know if I'd rather fight Graves or Lumber. I think they're pretty close for me. And I definitely would prefer to go to Graves than I would like probably either of the prisons or Scupper. Yeah. So I'm going to put Graves in my E tier next to Lumber. Because I think that there are worse places that probably belong in F.
Yeah,
it is pretty close. Like Graves is, you know, if it weren't for the church and that ruins area, it would be an F.
Okay, sure. I'm just going to change it back to E.
Oh yeah, yours is all chalked.
Well, I mean, that is my F tier, right? And then avoid at all costs is my F tier, really. But yeah, I think Lumber and Graves are both horrible. But I personally would rather fight Lumber, but I think they're both just dog shit POIs.
Yeah.
Bradley and Craven Brickworks.
I like this place.
I do too, but it's really, really hard.
Yeah,
there's no wall bang potential at all.
Yeah, that's tough.
If they don't peek, they can just sit in there and hold shotgun angles. There's not a lot of entrances. There's like the upstairs. There's the back roof entrance.
There's
the side roof entrance, the crank door, and then the whole. Well, I guess there are. So the problem with it is there's so much like geometry inside of it that somebody holding a shotgun is already at like a huge advantage in that building.
Yeah.
Because you don't have like any long sight angles that you can like jiggle peek a door and really shoot them, right? Because they can just crouch behind boxes. They can hide in one of the corners in the
really dark in there
downstairs. Too. Yeah. I feel like if there's a lot of teams there, it's really hard to fight there. If it's like a one team versus one team kind of situation, we can usually pull it off.
I think I'm gonna put it in C. I'm gonna move I had Parish in C for me. I'm gonna move it up to B. And I think I'm gonna put Bradley down.
Parish to B?
Yeah, I'm gonna put Bradley down in C.
Yeah.
Because I think it's good. I do like the POI, but I think it does play a little awkwardly sometimes, especially if there's more than one team.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of wasted space, I feel like, at that POI.
Yeah, there is.
Like that whole one back lane where the crank door is fucking useless. You can't do anything there at all.
No, you can't.
If they put like maybe another door in that back by where the jump spot is to get on the roof.
Little cave.
That little
thing.
cubby.
Yeah.
If they put like another entrance there, I think it'd be better.
And I actually do really like those little kind of C curves it has in the underneath, because there's one on the front too, which kind of gives you a little safety if you do need to get close. And then there are other
but there's like
around.
a lot of angles there that it's really hard to siege with the amount of doors there are right now. Because if you're sitting downstairs, the only place that they can come in is at the crank door, that metal door that's always open.
Yeah.
You know, or the that alleyway, like that tunnel alleyway.
Which are all these super. I mean, the crank door is different, but the other two are just these super tight, you know, little angles. You're not in favor to win that if you're sieging at all ever.
Well, I mean, the issue with the crank door as well is the whole outside area there is like wide open.
Yeah.
So if you're cranking it and they push out on you, you have nowhere to go.
Yep.
And there's not even a break in the fence there, I don't think, like in the big wall.
No. Yeah, I don't think so.
To even get out, so you're just stuck. Which renders that crank completely useless.
Yeah.
I'm putting a D, actually. I like fighting there occasionally, but I feel like in terms of overall boss layer, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, I almost think I'd rather, because I have Alice and Allen's in D. I almost think I'd rather go to both of those over Bradley.
Yeah, it's kind of bad, honestly. It just doesn't. There's not enough ways to get in, and not enough. There's nowhere to peek. The only place to even peek, there's like 3 holes up top that you can peek from.
It's just so dangerous. And the fact that you can get on the roof towards lumber, like the big roof, I feel like that really limits the potential for the people inside the boss layer to peek anything, because essentially half their building is completely useless. They can't even, since it's all open on the top, they can't even use it. They have to, you're just limited to the part on the backside, which has literally like 1 window, maybe, or 2.
Yeah.
Maybe that open bit should be like closed off, or at least covered more, so that people could actually go out and use it and peek from there. Because I think that's a problem. Like that roof is just an impossible fight to take if you're inside the boss layer.
Yeah. Lumber.
Wait, so do you have Bradley on the same row as Alice and Allen's?
No, it's D.
And those are at C?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. Lumber.
C and A lumber. So this is definitely better than Ash Creek. The outside of lumber, one side is completely useless, which is the prison side.
Yeah, it is. I do like those logs though. I have played on those a bit, and it is kind of nice.
Which ones?
The logs that are like the log stacks, kind of, I guess, more towards the Bradley side.
Oh yeah. I'm talking prison side, like the hemlock.
Yeah.
Like that whole side.
Yeah.
Where the bridge is, like that whole side is useless because you have no peaks other than if they get up on the balcony, which nobody ever does. In terms of siegeability, terrible, because you have the 2 front doors. Yeah, you have the 2 front doors, the double slider. You have the barricaded door. You have a crank door. You have a ladder that you have to climb up that they can just fucking wallbang you as soon as you get up there.
Yeah.
And then there is the ramp on the outside. Well, I guess that ladder inside that nobody is gonna ever siege with.
I kind of feel like with the use of just some throwable, I mean, it's a whole wood building and there's a lot of cracks. I feel like with the use of some throwables, you can really like displace the people in there. And
yeah, but I feel like the only way to push doing that is usually those 2 front doors.
Yeah.
And if
that one
they're
door is
sitting there
usually
not
locked.
Yeah, and if they're sitting there not moving, you don't know which side they're going to be on when you go in there to look left or right.
Yeah, you can't really go in the front. You almost need to force a pick of some kind.
Right. And even then, we forced the pick last night, and I pushed in and had no clue where that other guy was. And he just jiggle peeked a log stack and shotgun me.
Yeah, that boss layer itself is a little bit difficult to siege. It's just a little confusing in there. There's like a ton of cover, and it's not super. You're kind of exposed to both sides almost at all times.
Yeah, honestly, I love the little side building where the crank door is. And if it didn't have a crank door and had a regular slider or something, it would be.
I think that'd be huge. Yeah.
It would be way better of a POI for me.